Uh, Big Oof, we're back. Season 2, Episode 2. Here with special guest Curtis Nash. Curtis, welcome back. So this is Curtis' second time being on the podcast, if you guys didn't know. And Curtis is a very dear friend of mine. I spend most of my time with either Curtis and the boys. So Curtis, go ahead and tell us what's up. What's going on in 2019?
It's just hanging out mostly. Did the tournament today.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. I didn't compete, but I was mostly just a coach and was one of the guys who walked around encouraging people and being a motivation for our kids in Berea.
So can you tell us about the coaching experience in a martial arts tournament?
I'm not the greatest at it, so you're not going to get like the best description of it. It was my first time coaching, but basically just make sure that the person that you're coaching and the students know that you're there and that you're there for them, and encourage them as greatly as possible, while also giving them like information on how to make their fighting experience better, like techniques they could do or things that they can do better while they're fighting.
Mm-hmm. See, I'm completely opposite. I'm what's called an active coach. An active coach is seeing what the fighter doesn't see. Like I was coaching a kid today and continuous, and their opponent kept leaving their right hand down. So I kept telling this kid that goes to Elite Berea to throw that rear leg roundhouse like after he throws his 2 punches, and because he'll be expecting the third punch in the roundhouse. So basically in continuous, we've changed the rules to it's 3 punches and then a kick, or it's 3 punches and you get separated, which is kind of like clash sparring, if you know what that is. And so coaching this kid, and the kid he was going up against was from a good school, and he knows how to they know how to spar. And so I told him, I called time, and time you get a 10-second break. And so I called time, and I get this kid up here, and I'm like, all right, he's gonna expect you to throw that rear leg roundhouse right after you throw your 3 punches. Okay, so throw 1 or 2 punches and then kick. Okay, because his hands are gonna be expecting a punch. All right, so and of course, going back through my mind, it wasn't the smartest idea, but I set this. So I tell him to, and he was actually a coachable kid, which is always nice to have during a tournament. If you don't have coachable kids, you cannot win. You get kids that don't listen, and that's probably because it's their first tournament and they don't know what they're doing. But tournaments are always a learning experience, isn't that right, Kurt?
Yeah, and a lot of the rounds, since it was some of the kids' first tournament, for a few of them, I had Bryce give me a hand with coaching, and I even talked to the parents about it because they were under the impression that I was going to coach their kid. And what I told them was, I'm going to have Bryce coach your kid while I'm kind of
Kurt was
emotional support.
Yeah, Kurt was in the background for the tournament. Kurt,
and the main reason, I coached kids on the side for a few point sparring and 1 or 2 continuous, but the main reason is because, and I told the parents this and I told the students this, I'm going to have Bryce do it because being a 3-time world champion, he's bound to have a higher
success rate in coaching.
Exactly. The 3 kids that I coached, they scored and they got really good. 2 of them got first, and 1 of them got third. But the ones that were a lot harder to coach, I asked Bryce to take over, mostly just because he's got a lot more experience than I do.
See, in the martial arts world, coaching versus competing is completely different things, and I think that goes for all sports. In basketball, you get people who are great players, and then you put them in a coaching chair and they freeze and they don't know what to do. So being able to coach and compete in the martial arts is it's like being ambidextrous. It's pretty cool. I'd say. So I got to the tournament. So I woke up at 8:13, I believe. I slept in a little bit. I was supposed to get there a little earlier. Stopped by, grabbed my gear, because I wasn't here Friday. Grabbed my gear, go grab some water and a drink and some food. Head down to Winchester and fight. So I get there, right, and I get to the school, and we walk into the gym, And here's Curtis, just got this like huddle of elite kids around him, like, "What up, everybody?" And like I walk in there, and Curtis is like, "All right, our Lord and Savior is here." And I go, "What? I thought you were coaching the Berea kids." And I got the Richmond kids. So I ended up coaching Richmond and Berea kids, and it went pretty good. The first 2 kids I coached were in point, and they did really good. They finished first. And then I coached another kid who finished third, and then I coached another kid who finished second. But those 2 kids were in those were their first tournament, so I wasn't expecting them to have a high success rate. Then I coached another kid who did pretty good. And then we got to continuous, and I coached maybe like 3 or 4 kids in continuous, and they all won their matches. And of course, they were from the same school, and so you can't coach from the same school. It's a tournament rule. I guess because it's an unfair
because a lot of times, like it's also like a mental thing for the kids. Like if they like, if a kid from
you can't really cheer for.
Yeah, you can't really cheer for your own school against each other. Like,
Well, I mean, you can, but it
kind of
awkward.
demoralizes.
It's awkward.
Yeah.
So,
it sets up like a thing of favoritism, kind of.
Yeah, and well, I mean, and so yeah, so what I was saying is there's active coaching. Active coaching would be like if Curtis is sparring somebody, and I'm his coach, and I see that Curtis if I see there's an opening. Like, I'll call time, so I'll yell time, and the judges will stop for 10 seconds, and I'll be like, "Curtis, I need you to throw that ridge hand and then follow up with a rear leg roundhouse, open up and then blast him." That's active coaching. And then I'll scream it in the match. Like what Curtis does is more of a sit back and watch coach. And that's just from, his martial arts experience. Mine's completely different. I coach at bigger tournaments, and I coach more often. But Curtis is a great coach. I mean, how many people did you get first place today?
I got 2 people.
2 people.
Then the other one, he won both one of his matches, and
how many wins? How many match wins did you get?
I got 4, I think.
4.
Yeah.
See, that's not bad, and especially with younger kids, younger students who that maybe be their first tournament or. More than likely have never competed before, I should say. Not their first, not sparred, and not have an experience level of what they know what they're doing. I know in point, there's some techniques that these kids are throwing that you would never see in a point match. Like I tried to explain to a parent why throwing a jab in point is like bringing a knife to a gunfight, because a jab opens up everything in your body, and an experienced point fighter, like some of the kids in that division that they were fighting in from really good schools, would eat that alive. But you can get away with it in the beginner division. You can get away with jab in the beginner division, but
and you see a lot of these kids, that's all they really know how to do is they only know how to throw a jab. And when you tell them to throw something else, like I saw you coaching a few kids, and a few times I would hear you sitting there screaming, "Blitz, blitz, blitz."
Yeah.
And I wanted to tell you, these kids don't know what a blitz is.
Well, before every match, I said, "Do you know what a blitz is?" And they'd go, "Yeah." And I go back for his reverse punch just to make sure. And so when they got into the pocket, I'd go, "Blitz, blitz, blitz."
But they kind of get scared and blank out.
But they freeze, and that happens a lot in competing.
Especially with younger students.
But that's all experience. It's all experience. I fought today. This is the first win of 2019. It's a silver medal, but it's got a gold ribbon, so that means it's first place. But
it's gold. It looks gold.
It looks cool, but we went back to the old, the EMac, because the newer ods are smaller, but the newer ones, these are the newer ones are a lot bigger. But it's a silver, it's silver here, but it's gold. It's got a gold. It says 2019 Valentine Championship on it, and I really like it. I think it's a really nice medal design.
Bryce, how many medals do you have back there?
So this will make my 10th EMac medal. 10th, yeah, and all of them are in like sparring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then the rest.
Whopping 3.
The rest are these two. I've already gone over this, but the rest are state championship, Triple Crown. That was an open I went to. Another state championship. That was this blue one over here. I know you guys can't see some of them. Fighter of the Year. I got a banquet. And then these 3 right here in the middle are my world championships. And then this one right here is one of my first trophies that I ever got. It was a next level award that was given to me by Elite. And then down in my garage or somewhere I have a shack. I have some trophies from some opens that are like too tall to fit in my room. I'm afraid they'll get broken, so I just keep them there. And then I have some trophies at my I have some trophies somewhere. I want to say grandparents' house. Because when we moved, like I couldn't. I was afraid I was gonna break them. So I have 10 EMac medals as of now, and that is in the past year or so. And EMac tournament. How many EMac tournaments are there a year? Like 3.
Yeah,
3. So that's pretty good.
The only one that I would usually compete in is the one that we were just at, the February one. I didn't compete in it this year mostly because
you were coaching and you were asked last minute to coach, so I wouldn't really hold that against you. And then I got a bunch of plaques around my room for stuff.
Being awesome.
For being awesome, yeah. I got 2 competitor of the years.
You got a leadership one.
Leadership. I got 2 leaderships, 2 competitors. Protector of Elite Loyalty. I take that one to heart. That one really means a lot to me. I know that sounds like, but it really means a lot. I bleed Elite colors. I've been with Master Schneider for God knows long. Who knows how long now? I mean, forever it seems like. And I'm always there for Elite, and I'm always there for the company. I work my butt off for them. And it's because, I love what I do. I love the martial arts, and I've gotten to the point where I no longer want to. I want to give back instead of receive. Like I don't want to stop like learning martial arts. Like I never want to stop learning martial arts. You should never stop wanting to learn. But I'm at a point right now as a instructor and a black belt where I need to start giving back to the younger generation of martial arts, because Curtis, those younger students are the next generation of black belts. They're the next generation of Elite. They're the next generation of, who knows, world champions. Yeah. That kid on the mat that just started today, who's a white belt right now, 2 years from now he could be, who knows, heavyweight champion of the world someday.
And who knows what those kids are going through at home or going through in their daily lives.
So you gotta be
coming to Elite and seeing you as their instructor.
You gotta
make their day.
Yeah.
So you gotta put in everything you got for those kids.
I like to live by like when I'm instructing classes, it might be my 6th or 7th class that I've taught, but to that kid it's their first class, so I need to make it the best class that I will ever teach. And I know that's in our that's in the instructor's creed or something like that, yeah. And I take that to heart, because I know every time I step on that floor, every chief instructor or instructor I've had has given their 100% and made sure that it's going to be the best class that I will ever take, even if they're having a sucky day.
They tried to make you into the best person that you could be.
Exactly. And martial arts, it's a family. Like you can never go to a martial arts gym. Well, I mean, you can, but it would be hard and not become part of the family.
Exactly. It's like every time I go into Elite, I immediately feel comfortable. I feel like it's my second home. It's my home away from home.
Yeah, like I spend more time at Elite, and like school and Elite, I spend more time at than school. I mean, not school, my house, unless it's like because I work Saturdays. Like I teach on Saturdays, So I'd say I spend more time at school and elite than I do at my house. And that doesn't include, like, I don't want to say that includes sleeping, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, 2019, tournament season starting off strong. Got the dub. I'm actually going to put this back over here. Actually, for comparison, here's the old medal. Here's the old medal. As you can see, it's got the white with the Chinese characters, and it's got the gold.
And some had the kind of box around it.
Yeah, and these are the newer ones. I love them both. Like, I just think they're really cool. Put that right there. And most of these medals are, like, one reason why. Oh, there's 2 medals on that one. I can't. I'll put another one right there. Well, like, so one reason why I kind of prefer medals over trophies is it's kind of hard to break a medal.
That and you can't wear a trophy.
That and you can't wear a trophy. Yeah, it's a lot easier to take to tournaments. So, like, if you've ever set up for a tournament, it's a lot easier to carry a box of medals than it is 5 trophies in one arm. So, guys, today, well, actually, like 2 hours ago, we went to a movie called, what was it? Escape Room.
We're not going to give away any spoilers.
Yeah, I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but that was
awesome.
crazy.
It's awesome.
It was crazy. Yeah, I'll just give you one little like snippet. So basically, it follows.
Here's how the movie ends.
So, it follows around like these college age, kind of like mid-20s, early 30s, I'd say. Except for the old guy. It follows around these like people who have traumatic past, and they do like like if you know what Breakout is or Enigma, like the
those games you can get on your iPad.
No.
You just click the stuff.
No.
It's like an escape
No.
room.
I like the real life escape rooms, like the games that people go.
Yeah.
Like the. Well, I don't know. Like I did one in Georgia a long time ago, and I wasn't a fan of it just because I didn't like the room, and I bet if it was a different room I'd like it, but there was like one know-it-all guy, and I'm not gonna spoil it.
I don't like. I tried one once, and I hate them. I just hated it.
So,
because whenever I tried it, I just don't like confined spaces, and I don't like being trapped in rooms.
So Curtis, so what's a nifty little trick you learned today about a coffee pot?
Ramen noodles.
Who taught you that?
He can make ramen noodles in a coffee pot.
So
I don't remember how he did it, but it was awesome.
I knew you could make ramen noodles in a coffee pot, and I've known that since like middle school. So what you do is you take like your regular top ramen or your chicken ramen, and you fill it up to about 2 cups. Put it in the coffee filter, and it has to be like the old school coffee pot, not the Keurig, because that just wouldn't work. And so unless they make ramen noodle flavored K-cups. But anyway, fill it up, and you put the noodle and the seasoning packet in the coffee pot. It's like in the coffee pot itself, and you pour the water. Like you put a filter in, of course, but you pour the water into the coffee pot that heats the water into the bowl, and it makes ramen noodles right there. And it's like boiling the coffee. It's like boiling it, but a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really efficient. I mean,
basically it fills the noodles with hot water and cooks them. Yeah,
I'd say it's a lot better than the microwave I have in my room. I only use my microwave to heat up food, like if I'm
in the mood for some Chinese.
Yeah, if I'm in the mood for Chinese food that I have in my fridge right now, I toss it in there and heat it up for about 30 seconds. I really don't use my microwave a lot, but I love my mini fridge though. Mini fridge is pretty great.
How much was your mini fridge?
$80.
Ooh.
Yeah, I got it for Christmas. You like my sticker on there?
I do.
It says Trump 2020 make liberals cry again. It's funny.
See, I got a hoodie not too long ago, here in like November.
Uh-huh.
But it just says Trump on it. It says Make America Great Again underneath it. And my favorite thing about it, is the angry glares that I get from my school. See, my school, Madison Southern, is in Berea. And for those of y'all who don't know, Berea is an extremely blue city.
I'd take Southern for a Trump favored school. It's iffy.
It's kind of more like 60 or 70
60-40?
70% leaning blue. But the angry glares and just the mean words that I hear directed towards me every day just make me love it even more. Because the fun part about it is they can't do jack diddly squat about it. That's awesome. That's why I like it.
The one thing, like, okay, so I don't usually wear political things to public. Well, I went to a Trump rally in Charleston not too long ago, and I wore an American flag. I got my American flag pants on. I wore this, an American flag shirt, and my Trump hat. But, like, other than that, I really don't wear anything except for, well, I have a Trump shirt that I wear. But, like, I always wear a hoodie. And that's not because, you know, I'm not I don't like expressing my political views. It's just because, like, I honestly don't care.
See, people like
and
being offensive sometimes, and it's sometimes it's not even that, but a lot of times we like offending people.
Well, I don't like offending people. I'm completely opposite.
That's probably not a good way to word it, but
you like triggering. I'd say you like to trigger emotions.
I like knowing that they can't do anything about it,
and it makes them mad.
What I like about it.
Well, yeah, I mean,
just their reaction.
I'm a Republican. I'm a conservative Republican. I mean, I'm right. I'm not far right, but I'm on the right scale, but
I'm an a-hole.
So, I mean, politically though, I really don't like wearing political stuff just because, you know, that's just not really what I do. Like right now, I've got a Carhartt hoodie on, and that's because it's comfortable.
And I just got my Elite Black Belt hoodie on.
Oof. Didn't you wear that to the tournament?
I did.
I showed up in a top 10 tracksuit.
The inside of it is so freaking comfy.
I bet.
Comfy and it's
Dude.
awesome. It's soft. Feel the inside of the pocket.
Dude.
That's the inside.
It's about the same. This has been washed like
30,000 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing you get about hoodies, man. Like, you get them and you wash them a couple times, and they're like, the softness goes away. And then, I mean, okay, so most of the apparel that I wear out in public is either Top 10, Hard Rock MMA, Venom. It's all martial arts, like, elite stuff. It's all martial arts, like, apparel. And I'll wear a couple t-shirts out, like my school t-shirt, like my school basketball t-shirt, because it was free. I'll wear maybe like I used to have a Hooters sweatshirt that I wore all the time in 8th grade.
Where did that go?
It doesn't fit me anymore. I've become one big swole boy. Oh yeah, I had I can hear that. I hit a new PR on my deadlift. Shout out to El Terry. Me and him go to the gym at 4:30 in the morning, hitting the weight room. So we did back, like we were doing deadlifts right before the tournament, and I knew it was a stupid idea. Not because, well, I know, like, I have proper deadlifting form, and I knew I wasn't gonna get hurt, but like, just being sore. And I was sore Friday, but I wasn't really sore today. But anyway, so I hit, what was it, like 280? I hit 280 once, but then I was doing 235 with Landon just because I was going light before the tournament, and I was still sore after that. And then I've been trying to get my bench up. I'm at like 155 now. I know that's weak boy sauce, but you know, got to start somewhere. And as a point fighter, I never really went for like big muscles. It's kind of like lean, like having lean built muscles that are quick.
Speed.
Yeah, speed is the name of the game. Like, I'd spend hours on agility ladders at home, like, kind of that stuff. And I think that's what really made me kind of pretty good, was just working at home on a lot of stuff. Like, a martial artist, you can't really practice at the dojo and like every day and expect to get good. You kind of got to work on some stuff at home. Like, you can never, like, you cannot learn. It's like homework, if that makes sense. Like, you'll never be good at something unless you do homework. Like,
if you do get good at it by just doing it at the dojo, then it'll take way longer, and it'll just be a lot more difficult.
Like, I have a bag in my garage. I have a lot of stuff in my garage. Well, I have a bag in my garage that I use, and what I do is I would just do endless amounts of pump kicks, D-side. If you've ever watched Raymond Daniels spar, he does this thing called the real deal, where he does a side kick and he jumps up in the air and does a back turn side kick. And I thought it was the coolest thing, and I wanted to learn how to do it. And I was working on it, and I finally got it down, and I landed it. I landed it in sparring. I was gonna land it at this tournament, but I just did, like, I just wasn't thinking about it at the time. I was just doing what I knew. A lot of my blitzes, I work at home. I had OG Kainsey teach me the NBL Blitz. If you don't know what NBL is, it's National Black Belt League. Kane used to compete in that a long time ago, before it kind of... No offense, NBL. Kind of did a Gator National.
I was about to say, you also didn't have anybody to spar for a minute at the tournament.
Who?
You didn't have anybody to spar for a minute.
Yeah, so I didn't have anybody in my division, which is really weird, because that happens a lot. Like, nobody wants to either spar me.
Was the girl you sparred, was she not in your division?
No. Well, yeah, she was, and we agreed to an exhibition. So what happened was I ended up sparring a female, and then you left for a while.
Yeah, I went out to...
And then I had to spar a dude, like, for legit.
Oh, did you win?
Yeah.
Good.
Like, so what happened was they were making it an exhibition, and they were like, sorry, that doesn't count. And I was like, okay, but we still won first place, right? Because there was nobody in both of our divisions, so we were like, yeah, sure, let's do an exhibition. And that's just the friendly thing to do, is, just take an exhibition. And I don't like exhibitions. I don't like giving stuff.
It's kind of like a participation.
Yeah, like, everything you see behind me was earned. There's a couple, like, maybe one or two medals back there that are, like, there was nobody in my division, and it was an exhibition, but that was when I was younger, and I didn't know, like, exhibitions were kind of oof. So they give me an exhibition with this girl, and it was okay. Like, it was 5-0, and I was like, all right. And they were like, sorry, you're going to have to spar this dude. And this, guy in the division below me wanted to spar. And I guess it was for him because he didn't have anybody to spar. So they're like, you're going to spar him. And I was like, great. So, and they, like, gave me no break. Like, it was just straight up, which is fine because my cardio is pretty beefy. So, get there, spar him, 5-0, done, take home gold. He takes home silver. So, like, they gave the girl her medal because there was no other girl there. And the girl who was there in her division didn't want to spar. Like, she didn't have a card to spar. And so, like, she didn't have a seed. And so I ended up sparring 2 people. And it was fun. I mean, I enjoy sparring new people. I love sparring, but, if you're going to, like, do an exhibition, at least have it to where the point it's, good.
And
but
expect Bryce to correct me on a lot of stuff today, if it's about point sparring or continuous sparring or just sport karate in general, because sport karate isn't really my thing. I think I've talked about it before, but it's just not really my type of thing. My type of thing is kind of relaxed, sometimes intense, regular kickboxing.
Well, I figured, are you going to do any kickboxing anytime soon? Like, any bouts? Do you have anything in the future planned for that?
Not really.
Not really. You just kind of like
I'm mostly gonna
just do like at home, like not at home, at dojo stuff.
Yeah,
Just-
home
just-
dojo stuff like with Mr. H.
Yeah.
Or with any of the people there.
Well,
The main thing I'm gonna focus on instead of like bouts and tournaments
Mhm.
and stuff like that.
Is just coaching other kids.
Yeah, that and also kind of straying away from karate in general.
And moving
Like-
more towards full contact.
No, I'm saying like martial arts and moving into actual like strength training and muscle building.
So
Because whenever I graduate high school, because I'm a junior right now, and I have plenty of time, but whenever I graduate high school,
you're gonna enlist.
I'm going to enlist in the United States Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And I can't do a pull-up yet. I'm just too heavy. And the initial strength test to be able to get in the first place, I need to do a minimum of 2.
Yeah. So the like right now I'm doing strength training with Landon, and I'm doing strength training at school. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say like I've been doing it since August. So I've been hitting the weight room since August, and I'm a sophomore, and I've only been doing it for such amount of months. I mean,
How much have you gained from that doing this in August?
how many pounds?
No, like
muscle?
how much like
So
how much benefits have you gained?
Okay,
from
so I was benching maybe 125 in August, and now I'm benching upwards. See, I can hit 155 for 15. My one rep is 200, which is weird. I know, doesn't make sense, but I can hit 150, 200 for one. So in muscle, I'd say I'd gained about 15 pounds of muscle, and I've been cutting. Like I've been cutting a lot. Like I've been on a cutting diet. Started drinking water again. I know I'm drinking a Monster now, but it's like 2:00 in the morning.
I was about to say 2:00 in the morning. We need a highly caffeinated energy drink.
Yeah. But otherwise, I'm looking pretty healthy, and tournament season's back in business, so I gotta be in top physical shape. And this is the first tournament of the year. There wasn't really much competition for me, so I expect to go back. I want to go to Marty Eubanks' tournament, and go point spar there. I heard that's supposed to be some good competition. Marty's a cool guy. So I want to do what I want to do is by the end of the school year, I want to be able to hit 200 for at least 5 or 10. And I've gotten my curl, like my biceps are pretty big now, like compared to what they used to be a year ago. I can curl upper 70s, like for.
See, I've never been that fit of a kid. Whenever I was growing up, right?
Mhm.
I was always lucky enough to always have food
One
available.
One chunky boy.
But I never really knew like don't eat now. I was always a kid who would go up to the fridge and just grab something that was in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really exercise at all until about 8th grade, because in it was the first PE class I ever had was in 8th grade, and
They're like, "Can you do a sit-up, boy?"
I could do like 10 sit-ups.
When did you start martial arts?
I started martial arts, and that wasn't like full exercise. I'm talking about like cardiovascular, like running, and
See, like
I'd
I'd always been in decent shape. It takes me on a good regular training basis. Like my abs kind of like disappeared over winter break, but like you can kind of see them coming back now. But once in about 2 weeks or so, I should be back at peak body fat percentage, and a good anybody who's like into physical fitness or staying in shape will tell you like you don't necessarily have to be super.
You have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, you don't have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. You don't have to be ripped to be in shape. Like you don't have to be super jacked or super ripped or super swole to be in decent, like, good physical health. Like, you can... Okay, so, here's a good example of this. There's people, like, football players. Huge dudes. And yes, they're swole, and, I mean, I consider them, you know, peak physical fitness. Or, like, professional athletes. So, let's say, an MMA fighter. I mean, most of the...
Lesnar.
Stop. So most of them are in decent body fat percentage, and most of them are in physical shape.
But if you've seen the training that those UFC fighters do, they go
like they go ham,
like,
bro.
Almost every single day.
Yeah, they go ham. Well, so I'd say to be in a decent physical shape, I say for our age, I mean, I can run a 5:30 mile. Do you know how long you can run a mile?
The fastest mile time that I've done is around like 8:25. 8:25. I'd say
around like maybe 9 minutes.
And the last mile that I did recently was 10 minutes, but that's just because I hadn't done one in over the summer. It was the first mile that we did this year, and the main reason that I haven't run anything else is because it's been so freaking cold outside, and we haven't gone outside for PT at school. So
I feel like if you're really for real about the Marine Corps, like if you really are...
Well, because you need to be... Like, for the initial strength test, you need to run a mile and a half in 13 minutes.
I wouldn't rely on the Marine Corps to get you in shape. They tell you to be in shape. They tell you to get in at least decent shape before the Marine Corps. And, you know, I can see that because you don't want to really go into PCP or physical conditioning platoon. And, you know, I wouldn't want to do that either. But, like, at right now, I could probably pass. I don't know about the combat fit test, but I know I could pass the PFT.
The initial strength test, I think, is 44 crunches in 2 minutes, 2 pull-ups, and a mile and a half in 13 minutes.
Okay, so that's not bad.
And then the fitness test at the very end, the one that you have to pass to graduate basic training, is minimum 3 pull-ups. So, you know, you have to gain 1 pull-up.
Don't you have to do an ammo? Like, don't you have to do a combat?
I'll get that in just a second.
Yeah,
but then you have to do 3 miles in 29 minutes. Then like 55 crunches in a minute and a half, something like that.
See, that's crazy, bro.
And then the very end, and it's kind of like on your way to the graduation. It's like the last 52 hours of
combat.
The
Crucible?
Training. Yeah, it's known as the Crucible.
The Crucible, yeah.
First thing you do is you get up at
you don't even get any sleep
2 in the morning.
Like, you don't get any, like...
Yeah, you go to bed at like 6, then you get up at 2 in the morning, and then you go out and you march to the field, and this is based off of what I saw on a video. Yeah.
Wow.
Hey,
what a professional.
Hey, they described it pretty well.
Okay, so the Crucible, I had a Spanish teacher last year. His name was Dr. McLeese. He was a recon Marine, and he was like, the stuff that he did, he told me the stuff that he did as a recon Marine made the Crucible look like the
Elite
PFT.
Martial arts obstacle course?
Like the PFT. I feel like our fit test for the black belt should include a mile. It should include a mile run or a timed sprint. You know what I mean?
In like 20 minutes. Like a mile in 20 minutes. No. That's usually what it is at school.
Really?
Yeah.
These are black belts though. These aren't like JROTC kids.
Yeah, but
I'd say
some of the black belts in the world aren't the fittest characters.
Well, see, that's the thing though. Like, I don't think you should be given a black belt. Like, that is completely what I like.
Another thing about that is, I think there should be an age limit with black belts.
Yeah, well, I feel like, not just an age limit, but, you know,
a maturity limit kind of too.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. You know, you go to tournaments and you see like 6-year-old black belts walking around. Yeah. Do you really think a 6-year-old's gonna have the mental
and
capacity?
Also, to a point, there are black belts that I've seen that half my size, if I wanted to, if there were a bad person in the world like the size of me or even the size of Bryce, could snatch them up no matter how much karate that little kid knew.
Well, I don't think the point. I don't think the point. Okay, so the thing with young black belts is younger black belts it's an iffy situation because you got kids who are like complete studs and they just are awesome martial artists, right? And they're at a black belt skill level. And then you got kids who are at like a mediocre skill level or like not so great skill level, but they pass the requirements. And I'm not saying like
see their pants barely.
Yeah, but like the thing is I feel like mentally, I don't believe a black belt. There's a certain maturity level that you take with being a black belt. Like there's a certain you are.
If you're a black belt and you
have to be responsible. You have to have integrity.
Yeah.
You have to be honest. You have to know courtesy. You have to
If you're a black belt and you get extremely upset, and I've seen black belts cry over little mistakes, like they mess up on a form or they mess up on something.
Well, that could be their personality, but being a black belt it's a completely different spectrum of the martial so a white belt, right? So a white belt is basically this block of clay that you can mold into anything you want. Okay, if you're an instructor and you see that new kid walk on the floor as a white belt, he is practically a block of clay that you can sculpt into something awesome. All right? Now, as the instructor, you have to decide, or you have to know what to do with that block of clay. You have to be an artist about it, right?
Like, are you actually gonna try and make something good out of
Yes.
it, or are you just gonna shape it
Now,
into a blob?
I don't believe that. Now, yes, some kids are naturally gifted at martial arts, and people, it naturally clicks for them. Like for me, point sparring, fighting naturally clicks for me. Okay, it's just like a thing that I do well at. But some kids it doesn't cope, like it just doesn't click in their brain. And to me, it's hard. Like at first, it was hard. It was very hard for me to understand why. Okay, so I was at a tournament, going on a little personal story. I was at a tournament and I was just completely like blown away by how bad I was watching this kid, not from our own school, but watching this kid at my belt level, at my skill level, spar atrociously. And I was just like, why would you be doing something that dumb? Like he was just throwing like just stupid stuff, like sloppy. And sparring naturally clicks for me. So I was like, okay, why would you do that? Why would you throw that? Why would you throw that? And and then it resonated, like it just like came to me. It was like, well, maybe it's not him, maybe it's the instructor. Or maybe it's it could be him. He could just not be very good at it. Or it's the instructor. It's one of those two things. Like the instructor is what makes a martial artist good. I mean,
And you gotta admit, a lot of times, students don't come in just to learn karate.
Yeah,
they come in because their parents say, this child needs to learn.
That's the thing,
responsibility and the maturity that they need to be able to keep them like off the streets and
just
safe in general.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say safe. I would like, that's a thing, but I wouldn't say
kind
like
of safe from themselves and their own ego and attitudes and immaturity.
I wouldn't say okay. Well, that plays a part in it, but the thing is, as a competitor, it kind of shocked me to see, like when I was first beginning to be an instructor, there were people that didn't want to compete. Like they just didn't want to compete. They're not competitors, and it was like, wow, why? Like why? Like not everybody has an interest in making a career or making themselves known in the sport karate world, and it's just something different. And so, knowing that other people have interest in martial arts, like parents want their kids to know life skills. A lot of things that we preach at martial arts is life skills. And, I don't want to completely say, keeping their kids safe off the streets and, bully proof is like the main reason, but it really isn't. you see most of these kids either have like, I don't want to be mean, but most of them have maybe attitude problems, or their attention span isn't that great, or
and that's what we're kind of trying
yeah,
to adjust
they're not respectful, or they're not, and over time, you might not see it, but over time, a good instructor will make that, like, they'll transform that kid if that kid is willing to learn martial arts. Martial arts doesn't just make you good to kick butt. Like, I've known kids that in the beginning their attitude was horrible. Like, they would never say yes sir or no sir, and they would just give you utter disrespect. I mean, and then they go from maybe like not yellow belt to like white belt to purple belt. Like, you see the transformation from white belt to purple belt, and
at that point they're
saying
sir.
Oh yeah, at that point you go set stance, like you say set stance, and they go, oh snap, or you walk in a room and they're all like yelling and screaming, and you just walk in the room and they all go, like, their mouths just close, because they know that you're the instructor, and they show respect by not screaming their heads off.
And that kind of teaches them for the life skills outside too, for the respect part. Like,
yeah,
sometimes with their teachers, they're lying in front of their teachers, they're the first ones in their class to
well, I wouldn't say necessarily, teachers, yeah, but
teachers and just adults and
adults in general. Well, I would say a bigger part of martial arts would be after school, like not after school, but not like after school, but like after they graduate. Like, if you stick with martial arts for a long time after you graduate, it kind of sets you with a certain amount of skills that you have, like to apply. Like, let's say you apply for, like, if I go to apply for a job, now of course I could say I'm like a 3-time world champion, or I'm a first degree black belt, or I'm an instructor. I could say that, or instead of bragging, and instead of showing them like what I've done and my accomplishments or my achievements, yeah, they might ask for that, but I'd much rather be like, I am a responsible person because of martial arts. Martial arts has made me responsible and respectful, and it has changed my life completely, than being like, yeah, I win tournaments, I beat people up.
Because if you were an employer, who would you want to hire? Would you want to hire some random scuzzbag who just graduated high school with no life skills or no previous, I'll phrase it loosely, good stuff happen in their life? Or would you rather hire someone who has that respect and has that experience? And it's kind of hard to word for me just because I'm not that bright, but just has that respect and has that history of learning respect. And
I'd say martial arts has given me a skill set. I'd say no, not even martial arts. Being an instructor, giving back to martial art, like giving back to the martial arts community, has changed my view of martial arts. Like, before I was an instructor, I was like, yeah, I want to spar, I want to do this, I want to compete. Now I'm like, okay, slow your roll there. Let's go coach. Let's go volunteer. Let's go teach class. Let's go learn. Let's learn how to teach.
How to be a leader.
Yeah, let's go learn how to be a leader. I think one of the biggest problems I've seen is people are not, like, they're just not good leaders. Okay, there's a difference between a boss and a manager. A boss will tell you to do stuff. Now, there's a good boss and there's a bad boss.
A boss will force you to do something.
Yeah, a boss. I'm just saying in general, a boss will they'll force you to do it. And I'm not saying that's bad, because
some people need that.
Yeah, boss is the boss, right? You need structure, but a good boss will they'll encourage, they'll help, they'll show their unexperienced employees how to manage. I mean, too many times I've seen where somebody in the office doesn't know how to do something, right? Mm. And the manager will sit down, or the boss will sit down and show the manager how to do it. So next time, when they get to that problem, they already know how to fix it. And I think that is great management skills right there. If you sit down and take the time to show your lead, like your head manager or your CEO or whoever, how to do something, instead of telling them to figure out. No, I'm not saying that's in a perfect world, but sometimes you need to tell somebody to figure it out. Like if they can figure it out and they're capable of doing it,
they're just being lazy.
Well, no, not just lazy. Like
sometimes that's the case, but
yeah. Well, no, I'm not saying lazy. No, I'm not saying lazy. I'm saying like, let's say I know you know how to okay. Let's say I give you a task, right? Like put together the podcast equipment. Okay, I tell you to put together the podcast equipment. Now it might take you a while to figure it out, but it's for your own good, right? Okay. But it would have been easier for me to show you how to do it, and sit down with you and say, okay, well this goes into the mic, this goes into the adapter, and this goes into the computer, right? Then it would have been for me to just say, figure it out.
And it's like show someone how to do it, and then encourage and correct.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a
praise, correct.
Model we use. Praise, where you compliment that they're doing something good, show them how they could do it a little bit better, and then compliment them and praise them when they do it good, the way that you wanted them to do it.
Yeah. So, as teaching martial arts, right? Let's say you got a student sidekick isn't that great. Okay. Well,
you don't want to say, hey.
You don't want to. You never want to say, hey, that sidekick is horrible. Leave. I would say sidekick is looking good, but we need to chamber the kick, and we need to kick it. Like we need to chamber the kick and rechamber. Like kick is chamber, kick, rechamber. So chamber the knee, throw the side kick, and rechamber it. And then I'd be like, now try that. And then they do that, and they do it to a degree, and I go, awesome job. Because, you're instilling that, you're instilling you're encouraging them.
You're not just shooting down their efforts.
Yeah, you never want to do that especially to younger and newer students. I feel like too many people want to be a drill sergeant.
Yeah, they get to that. They get to that.
No, because it's easy to be. It's easy. Yeah, no, it's easy to be the drill sergeant.
Yeah.
I've been guilty of it sometimes. Like with the black belt, like with some of the black belts or level 2 kids, I'll be like, all right.
That's because a lot of times they're older and
well,
they all
not
have
just
that
that,
level
but
of maturity.
I don't like
baby
being
them.
No, well, I don't baby them, but I don't like being like that. I don't be like, all right, guys, 50 jumping jacks, go. And I just don't like doing that. It's just not me. But because I like to have a high energy class. Like I like having good motive. Like
I don't want them to hate it.
No, I don't want no. I never want anybody to hate a class. That is my main goal is to always make sure that they are enjoying the class and want to come back.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I were to take notes on the previous classes that I've taught, it would probably be, okay, how many students want to come back to my class? How many students enjoyed my class? What could I work on? And where are my weaknesses? Like I know I've been going over my classes, and one of my weaknesses is I look at the regs. Like I look at the regs too often. Like I'll be like, okay, what's the next technique? Okay, but I need to learn. Like, don't do that.
See, usually I'll have them while they're warming up. I'll look at the regs, right? I'll look at their stuff that they need to do. Then I'll have them start doing the first thing, and then I'll go look back at the regs to make sure that I know what's next. I'll get that down in my head, make sure I know what I'm doing with that one, and I'll kind of just I'll still pay attention to them and make sure they're still doing what they need to be doing, but I'll take that short bit of time while they're busy doing something after I've coached them for a little bit, go check out the regs, make sure I know what's next, make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
I mean, one of my favorite things is we have a bonus week, right, where we get to teach wherever we want.
Yeah,
I love
that's
that.
Always the easiest.
It's always easy, and I love that. But I always love sharing competitive martial arts with people, and I know me and you come from different ideal points on martial arts. Like for you, martial arts is more about, I would say, from my perspective, correct me if I'm wrong, but at my viewpoint on how you take martial arts would be of more of a self-defense, fitness kind of, like you want to be fit, like you want to be in good shape, and that's mainly because of the Marine Corps. Like you want to get ready for the Marine Corps, like you want to be in good shape. You know, it's also
fit and know how to protect myself and others,
and you want to know how to protect yourself.
Yeah,
and you know, that's good. That's martial arts, but I'm completely different. I'm a competitor. I mean,
yeah, I was gonna say I only have a few trophies in my cabinet, and then they're either a few participation ones or just next level awards and like a few second places and a third.
You know what's funny? I've never sparred you in competition.
No?
Ever. I've never sparred Curtis in competition. Like,
that's because you never really come to the same tournaments as me. And
I have.
And when you do, we just don't get paired. Because there's always enough kids.
Well, no, we go to the same, like, we went to the same tournaments for a long time. It's just you were a black belt before I was. That's right. And you're older than me. So you were always in the division above me.
Yeah, if you were in like the.
But me and Miguel have competed a lot against each other.
Yeah.
And
that doesn't mean that me and Bryce haven't sparred together, because we sparred together and
we spar all the time.
Last time I was over here,
I have like a boxing ring in my garage that I use to like train for angles.
And we threw down.
We threw down. I mean, me and Kurt have a good time, and it's always like it's not. I wouldn't say it's not heavy.
It's never in bad spirit.
Like, it's never in bad spirit. Like, it's not heavy. It's not fighting.
We never not have fun.
Yeah, like, it's not fighting. It's just fun. And
if someone gets a bloody nose, or someone gets like the slightest bit hurt, that just happens. That's training.
It's my gym. So if I get hurt, right? I mean, who cares? It's my gym. Like, if Curtis hurts me, I'm like, yeah, Kurt, that was a good shot. But, you know, if I hurt Curtis, I'm like, oh,
and
crap.
we're not jerks about it to each other either.
And
like,
you know, we don't
try to hurt.
Yeah, no, we're not trying to hurt each other. Like, we're not trying to knock each other out.
Yeah, because if we were to try and hurt each other, we wouldn't want to spar together.
Yeah, but the thing is Curtis is like a perfect sparring partner for me. He's taller than me. He's a lot bigger than me. Now, granted, that doesn't make him an ideal opponent for point sparring, because you don't point spar.
Yeah, right.
Like, my go-to sparring partner for points is Kane.
Yeah, that's because he's
Kane.
He's like a god at
point sparring. And so you're like my ideal kickboxing partner. Mm. Like how Mr. H is your ideal kickboxing partner, because you're better than me at kickboxing.
And Mr. H is better.
And Mr. H is better than you kickboxing. So it's like do.
Yeah.
I mean, and you never really show up to Richmond because you're in Berea. But like every time I go down to Berea, I always have a blast sparring you or H.
Yeah.
And that's just because I've known you guys for a long time, and I know we're there to have fun and not beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah, and there's never hate involved with it.
Like, see,
like
that's
sometimes there are hits that I'll get hit with,
and
it's
just
mad.
Yeah.
And I'll get mad at hits sometimes, but it's like
but you know, like,
he wasn't actually trying to hurt me. It was just a good shot.
I get mad at getting hit. Like, I get mad getting hit because I know I could have done something to stop that.
Yeah, it's like, oh crap, I got hit by that.
I could have blocked that.
I could have done something to not get hit by that.
And the thing is with a lot of people ask, like, do you ever do martial arts because you get to fight people legally? I go, no, like, I don't do, like, that's not the point of martial arts. I feel like the point of being a competitor in martial arts is to really test yourself against others, to see where you are, in at your skill level.
Yeah.
Like, you're never gonna see how good you truly are at martial arts by sitting on your butt at the dojo. And you might be the best in your dojo, but are you the best in the region? Are you the best in the state? Are you the best in the world? And that's where I think kind of competition comes into play with martial arts, is like really testing your limits. And that first competition is very scary. I know we had a couple kids today who just had mental breakdowns because it was their first tournament. And that happens. That happens. But, you can't have that. You cannot, like, in the middle of a point sparring match, you cannot freeze. And that's how you get hurt. and I've seen it too many times where kids, like, not from our school, well, yeah, some from our school and some from other schools, and they're, like, really little, and they just freeze when they get in the ring.
Yeah.
Like, they might be awesome at sparring at the dojo, but once you step on that competition floor, man, it's a completely different animal. And I've seen kids who are great at sparring because they're comfortable at the dojo, and they know they're not going to lose at the dojo. But once you step on the competition floor, it's like riding a horse without a saddle.
Yeah.
It's wild.
And in my first tournament, I remember I about broke the little 4th place trophy that I got. You remember those little bitty ones where you just block a marble and like the guy doing a side kick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I about threw that on the concrete out in the parking lot just because it was my first tournament, and I knew that at the dojo, I was always super good at sparring, and I would never freeze up when I would go in there. And during my forms, I would never freeze up, and I wouldn't bounce. I would, boom, bust out perfectly. But whenever I got in there, I would just freeze. I would get scared. I would just underperform because I was nervous and I had never done it before.
So, like...
And whenever I get out there, whenever I whenever I left that tournament, I understood, like, dang it, I shouldn't have froze up like that.
Yeah.
I've done this type of thing I've done sparring and forms like a million times, and just because I'm in a tournament, it froze me up. It always frustrated me.
See, like, you compete, I'd say about maybe 4 times a year, right? If I'm wrong, maybe less than that.
A lot less.
2 times a year, maybe once a year.
Last year I only competed once, and that was the first time I had competed in like 5 years.
Oh, okay. Well,
the first time I'd competed was when I was a green belt, and I did two more tournaments after that, and I'm like, all right, I'm done with this. And then last year I did.
The February ones, the February one's usually really big too, especially the one that we hosted last year was really big.
This year's
this was a little smaller. It was a little smaller, I'd say. But that's because it was, I'd say the weather, and it was in Winchester, and I'm not saying Winchester was a bad location. I'm just saying, like, they're not too far apart. Like, Richmond and Winchester aren't very far apart.
I was going to say, why did we do it in Winchester?
I'm not sure. Maybe because the gym was open.
I was going to say, was that the only venue that we could play?
I don't know. I'm not too sure.
Because usually we do it.
But I don't. I usually don't care as long as I got a place to compete.
Yeah.
I mean, I've sparred in rec centers next to gentlemen's clubs, which is an experience. That's the purple one. That's one of my favorite trophies too. That purple trophy, that Triple Crown one. I didn't go to Triple Crown this year. I was sick. I got up. I was actually gonna drive the Triple Crown because I got my license like 3 days before it. Oh yeah, I'm street legal. I got my license. Kurt, when do you get your intermediate?
I get my intermediate in April.
April? I'll get mine in May. So. Yeah. So.
Perks of being a month, 2 months older, right?
I should be a junior. Like, I honestly should be a junior, but my birthday's in November.
Yeah, your age.
I'm at the cross. Like,
you got that late birthday.
Yeah, and then
I'm gonna sound like a douche for saying this, but when's your birthday? I know it's in November.
It's the 15th.
15th. Okay, cool.
I usually don't throw a birthday party. Like, I don't do that. That's not me.
I can't even remember what I did for my last birthday.
Ooh.
I think I did.
Was I there? I swear I was.
I remember what we did. I went to Logan's Steakhouse, and then I went over to Elite Brewery that night, and whenever I got there...
Oh, yeah! We was there. I was there, yeah.
He gave me a bag of Kit Kats and a GameStop gift card.
Yeah.
And I was like...
I still haven't used that Buffalo Wild Wings gift card. I'm planning to take this girl with me on that.
Really?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Huh?
What's his name?
Oh, wow, Kurt. Wow, you're really funny. You know that? No, so... That's what I'm planning on using that for.
I got that joke from my boy Owen Rhodes, by the way.
What's his name? Yeah, I remember that. So, we were in Disney, right? I was competing at Disney.
He was in Disney.
Oh yeah, I was in Disney. And when I was competing at Disney, this was right before the tournament, like maybe 5 hours before the tournament. I wake up, and usually before big tournaments, like nerves don't start to happen until you get there.
Yeah, like the anticipation. I wouldn't know, but I kind of understand what you're talking about. Like the anticipation doesn't build until you're like walking through the doors of the building.
And usually, like, I'm not nervous. Like, I am never nervous at a tournament. Like, if you ever see me walk around a tournament, I'm like, I'm a super chill dude, and I'm ready to
stoic kind of dude with earbuds in.
Like every time when I'm at a tournament, I got my earbuds in. What was I listening today? I was listening to
something cool.
I was listening to let's pull up my Spotify. Alright, so I made a playlist this morning of so we got Frontlines, so Diabolic, Immortal Technique. It was a Diabolic. Big Pun, of course. Ski Mask, another Ski Mask song. More X, Drake, Tupac, some Goody Mob. A lot of it's just rap, like a lot of it's old school rap.
See, I'm basic, and my go-to for motivational pump myself up music is Metallica and
see, like I used to listen to Metallica. I'm seeing Metallica in March at the Yum Center.
You're singing?
No, I'm seeing. Like I'm going
seeing.
to see. Yeah, I'm going to see Metallica.
I'm
and then
How much are tickets, by the way?
Huh?
How much are tickets?
Expensive. I got them for my birthday.
Good Lord.
Yeah, and then Sicko Mode. Sicko Mode was on there. I don't know why. Some Drake. Like I usually listen to Drake before to calm me down, but then like when I'm there, I'm listening to like Diabolic or Big Pun or
chuck in some
Biggie.
AirPods and put on your helmet. Listen to music while you spar.
That would be legit. Like when I was warming up with Curtis this morning, we were just doing combinations on. Like I was just doing combinations on him, and like
and I would have to like snap and wave my hand to get his attention, because.
Like I'd have my earbuds in, because I don't have AirPods. Obviously, I'm broke. So I wish I got paid to compete in martial arts.
You get AirPods if you cut off the cord.
Well, yeah, I cut off the cords on some of my old ear ones, and so what happened was I had my earbuds in, right, and the guy that I thought I was gonna be competing with, like I was making sure he was watching me, and like I was dead on thought that, because you know when you go to a tournament and you know your division, you know what to look for. And this guy was sitting down on the bench, and he had his footgear on, so I knew he was sparring, and he had a black belt, so I knew he was in my division, and he looked my age, and so, you know,
Is that the guy you sparred?
No, I sparred an adult.
Oh, okay.
And so I was waiting. I was with Kurt, and me and Kurt were just warming up. Like Kurt, I was just throwing warm up stuff like high block reverse punch, follow up with the high block, like pop pop pop.
And like I would throw a back fist or
he'd throw back fist or a blitz, and
a kind of lazy kick.
And I'd throw like a D side, or I'd we were doing this one where I'd push the arm down. It's weird to explain it if you don't know point sparring, but I'd smack the arm, axe kick roundhouse. That's a good one. I was doing a lot of flashy kicks just to like mess with this guy's head. A lot of tournament stuff, man. Like a lot of tournament. A lot of ways people win tournaments is psychological. Like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to this tournament and I'm gonna show up. Well, when you actually get to the tournament and you get there and you register and you see how many people are there and you walk in the gym doors and you're like, oh crap. Like my first initial reaction is when I walk into a tournament is like, all right, who am I sparring? Like who is coming in second? Like who am I gonna beat today? And immediately I look for black belts. No black belts? Okay, cool. I'll just start scanning for people sitting in the bleachers. So while I'm warming up, I'll kind of look around. And, looking like you'll see a lot of experienced people do this. I don't show up to a tournament. Like Curtis, I never show up to a tournament in gi. Mm-hmm. Ever. I don't do that.
Today you showed up in a pair of sweatpants and a hoodie.
I showed up in my top 10 tracksuit.
Top 10 tracksuit. Yeah.
So I showed up in a top 10 tracksuit and an elite shirt, and I started warming up in that. And that throws a lot of people off because they don't know like what division I'm in. And it's just it's a trick, I don't like I like playing mind games with people, if that makes sense. Like whenever I'm sparring somebody, when I'm about to spar, I just smile. Like I smile, like I start laughing, I start smiling. I like playing mind games. And 90% of a tournament is psychological. Like, if you can psych the other guy out, or if the other guy is scared of you, or he doesn't know what he's doing, like, not say he doesn't know what he's doing, but he's, like, he can't comprehend it, or he doesn't, like, understand, or he's scared or nervous, you've automatically won. Like, if he's second-guessing himself in the tournament, it's because he does. Like, you. I don't want to be mean, but you second-guess yourself at tournaments.
Yeah, of course.
Big time.
Yeah.
Like, when I watch you spar...
It's like, all I know is that the only reason that people sometimes don't want to spar me or get nervous about sparring me is just because I'm tall.
Yeah. See, like, if Curtis... Okay.
That's
Curtis,
kind of like the only mental advantage I really have over people.
Yeah, if Curtis were to, like... Curtis, you don't even have to be good to win. Like, well, you kind of do, but just you being tall and big, that's, like, a big fear. Like, that's a big, like, factor in you, like, playing mind games with these
Especially
people.
if you're, like, 5'6",
like,
all of a sudden you see this 6'4" second-degree black belt walking onto the mat.
Yeah, like, I'd be pretty scared. But, you know, knowing Curtis and knowing how he spars, I'd be like, okay, don't get kicked.
No,
stay out.
Freaking nice.
Stay out of the kicking range. So, sparring at tournaments is, like, I'd say it's maybe 20%. It's like 80% mental, not like 20%, 80% mental, 20% physical.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be good to win. I'd say that. Or I might even give it a 50-50.
I was going to say, you're not going to win based off of mental. Like, if you go in and scare the crap out of him, but all of a sudden he goes in and realized, oh, this guy sucks.
Yeah. Like, watching the adult division today, I was like, oh, man, I want to see some guys get hit. Yeah, okay. Okay. I mean, I could have joined that and won. But, you know, it is what it is. I mean, I know competing in martial arts is a scary thing at first, but once you once you get at least like 2, maybe 3 tournaments under your belt, you kind of get a feel for things. And then once you start, like, I've been to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, at least 30 tournaments since I was I'd say orange belt. So that's, like, not a lot in competitor standards, but, like, I mean, it kind of is. For me.
6.
But, I mean, you know, I wouldn't consider myself, like, okay, so I compete a lot, okay? But to somebody who competes every other weekend, 30 tournaments is nothing. 30 tournaments is, like, maybe
1 tournament.
No, like, 30 tournaments is maybe, like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Like, it'd be like being on a travel baseball team, right? You go compete every other weekend. Okay, that's what it'd be like. Like, Kane, he used to compete every other weekend. So, like, 30 tournaments, nothing to him. But to me, that's a lot.
For him, 30 tournaments.
It's like
Monday,
yeah. Back in like 06 maybe. But I mean, martial arts is weird, dude. It's weird.
But as you can tell, especially based off the wall back here, Bryce is just not that good at martial arts.
Oh, no, man, I suck. I mean, I'm just the worst at it. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
He's just awful. Those first places,
those aren't even, like, they're spray painted. Those are bronze. Those are bronze.
Spray painted participation medals.
They're spray painted participation.
He just snagged a handful of participation medals out of the bucket and spray painted them gold.
Oh my!
I say these things, yet I know for a fact that if I go up to Richmond and try and point spar with Bryce, he'll mop the floor with me.
There's a saying that I like.
Don't make fun of someone who's better than you.
No. There's a saying that I like to tell myself before a tournament, and it's kind of arrogant. It's kind of like an ego thing, but champions dominate, wannabes compete. Like, that's kind of like what I go by. Champions dominate. You know what I mean? Champions dominate. Champions dominate.
Champions dominate.
Wannabes compete. I mean, sorry. This is the Big Oof Podcast, signing off. I'll see you guys next week. Have an awesome, whatever it is you're watching this, week, Tuesday, I don't know. But guys, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Thanks for watching.